So that's where the leak is coming from. Hey y'all, Mr. Tim's here. This is a GE washer. It's probably 5-6 years old now. We purchased it from Lowe's, but it's been having a issue, and here's what's going on. It's constantly leaking, and you can see that there's water in this. It shouldn't be in there. It's constantly just kind of running all the time, and so one of the workarounds that we've done to keep it from doing that is coming back here and actually turning these guys off, keeping it from leaking, and that's been solving the problem. But it's not really practical to be back there all the time doing it, so let's turning it on and off. So let's fix it. Also, one of the issues we had is this thing would start running. It would actually fill up so much with water down here that it would start the drain and spin cycle to get all the water out of it. So I'm gonna get it pulled out here, and I've ordered a part, and I'll go through kind of how I decided what part I should get, and I'll show you how I actually got the GE part. This model here on the back, I'm going to get it pulled out. It actually has a scan barcode or QR code that will link you to all the parts and configurations. So with the washer pulled out, you can actually see where the lines come in. Hot and cold come in here, and then right over here is serial number and that QR code. And when you scan that QR code, it takes you to all the parts diagrams and everything you need as far as parts to fix the unit. So I believe that it is the valve. And once you go looking at it, this actually blue part here is actually all one piece, and it has all the valves for different cycles in that one unit. And I believe it's the valve because once I drain this thing out, you turn off the water over here, it actually stops. So the dripping stops. So it's reasonable that it's the valve inside. So that's the only valve in the unit, so we're going to replace that. Okay, so ordered this from that QR code. This actually comes from GE or Harrier company. And it says, look, this is a genuine part. This is OEM part here. See, this is that same blue. This is the hot and cold inlets here. And these are all the individual valves and connections that I have to the different cycles. So there's some electrical plugs to do. Looks like 2 on each. They got 4 and some screws. And then, of course, these lines going in and then the hot. So not an overly complicated fix. Let's get it tore apart. This part, guys, was probably around $54 and then $4 or $5 for shipping. So other than getting the aftermarket part off of Amazon, which I looked at, it's going to be about the same price. Just get the OEM part. Got it folded where I can get to the back of it here. You can see the screens there. Definitely got it unplugged. There's my plug there. And I've just got the water lines. They didn't have a lot of water in them anyway because I had it shut off. Got them up in the air. And then the drain, it just pulled out a little bit. So I've got a little bit of room here to work. Looks like I'm going to have to take off just this back, these 4 bolts here, and over there. All right, so got the back off of it. Here's that unit. As you can see, here's my unit that I purchased, the OEM. Exactly identical, which is good. So I'll get working off these screws here. Looks like 1, 2, maybe the 3rd one in the back there. Yep. So which would correspond 1, 2, 3. I'll have to see if this is a screw, if that's sitting on a tab. That's not. So it's just 3 of these screws right here. I'll get the socket wrench out and get those off. Okay, got the 3 screws out. And this thing just lifts straight up like that out. See the wire connections here. I'm going to get these all done, but it just literally just plugs and plays right into that socket. Doesn't get much easier than that. One thing I would suggest as I started pulling these guys off is remember how they go. So I've got a nice little video here to remember how it goes, but the first one went to the left over here. Second one, third and fourth. So pretty easy to remember as long as I start with this one on this side. Got them all pulled out. They all pulled out except for one, which is odd. This guy right here actually has a clip that you had to press. The rest of them don't have any clips, so they just pulled straight out. All right, got them all plugged in. Before I do that, I'm just gonna look down in each one of these holes and make sure there's no debris. This one looks kind of dirty, so I'm gonna clean that one and then I'm gonna plug it back in. All right, got it wiped down, cleaned up. Bet you $1 that was the hole that was failing. So literally this is just gonna plug, line right up. It's gonna plug all 4 of them back in, press down, and then I am going to replace the 3 screws. We are good to go with that. 3 screws are in. These are tightened, not overly tight, but since they are keeping the pressure down to these 4 ports to go into the wash machine, you know, you want them snug, but remember, just don't over tighten them. Yep, let's get the access panel back on. Now this line was still attached over here, and I'm just going to bring this back in, and it's got a couple of slots to fit in, and I'll get this bolted up. All right, got it back slid in position. So drain line back in the proper location. These guys are hooked up hot, and so making sure that these are nice and snug, that they're not stripped, or, you know, these are plastic threads, so you got to be careful with them, but you want to make sure these are snug. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and turn the lines on and make sure that they're not dripping back here. So you can run your finger under them, take a paper towel or whatever, and just make sure. And while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and get the electrical plug. Got everything hooked up. Let's just make sure, let's give it a test. I got it on speed wash there. Seems to be behaving normal. All right, so seems to be behaving normal. I'm going to go to drain and spin, and that's going to get all the water out of it. So, of course, before I post this, I am going to give it a day or two to make sure that this solved my problem. All right, next morning, and we are bone dry. Well, not bone dry, but it's not leaking. You know, a night of that valve not working, and this would be full of water. It would be water all down in here. We would literally have to have those cut off. So that definitely solved the problem. Well, $50–$60 part, and about 10–15 minutes, and I solved the problem. So that's well worth the time. No telling how much it would cost for a repairman to do a job like that. So thanks for watching. If you got any comments or questions, give me a shout. Thanks, y'all.